A conversation about work, leadership, relationships, resilience, family, community, and the complicated realities of modern life. This is The High Road with Michelle Kommer.
Good morning. This is Michelle Kommer, founder of HighRoad Partners, where every day I have the privilege of helping organizations navigate the people side of the business. And it's been a day of people in business today, I'll tell you that. Well, I am here in the studio with 4 amazing women again. Last month we talked about physical wellness, emotional, physical, mental, spiritual, financial wellness. And this month, this August, we're pivoting into business wellness. And I'm so excited to share who I've got here in the studio with me today. I've got Jodi Duncan. She is the CEO of Flint Communications.
President.
Darn it.
You were close.
Well, I don't know. I think I'm going to nominate you for a promotion.
Thank you.
If you have heard a story around this community or this state or even beyond, there's a high likelihood that Jodi and Flint have been behind it.
Yeah, Flint's been around for 80 years.
80
so
years.
We've had our hands in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I've admired Jodi for years as a professional, but also because of how she rocks lipstick. Truly.
Thank you.
Like you bring the light to any room you're in more ways than one.
I appreciate that.
Well, it's true. It's true. I've got Liz McGee here. Liz joined us in July, and Liz is here today because she's in training. What are you in training for?
I will be the guest host.
Yes, you will.
In a few weeks.
The 3rd August.
Third Thursday. So.
And the training goes like this. Show up.
That's it. I can do that.
Yep, that's it. You got this. I'm excited.
It's fine. We'll be fine.
I'm excited. I've got Krista Andrews. Krista is an attorney with ABST Law. She also joined us a few times in July. Krista specializes in high net worth divorces. Yes. Yep. So she is an expert in de-escalating conflict and being the adult in the room. And she brings kindness and empathy to really difficult conversations. It's true. It's true. You do.
I love that.
You do. And then we've got Christy Dauer. Christy is the executive director of the North Dakota Women's Business Center. And she too touches so many things in this state and beyond. If you've been a startup and an entrepreneur and you've had an idea, if you don't know Christy, you should. And that is one of my goals for today in the month of August, to make sure that you get to know all of these women very, very well. We will have some additional guests coming up in August. We will have Jodi Satkunam. We will have Michelle Kommer, and we will have Michelle Duncan joining us at various times throughout the month. So on a couple months coming up, there are going to be 3 Michelles, 2 Jodis, and a Christy, like in varying combinations. And so I'm not really sure what to make of that yet. But I think Michelle Duncan made a good joke. She said, this just looks like one really confusing text string, like one opportunity.
She's not wrong.
Yeah, right? If it sounds smart, I'm going to take credit for it. It's Michelle Kommer. No, I'm just kidding. Y'all know better than that. So here we are. We spend a huge percentage of our time at work. And don't our workplaces deserve the same conversation about wellness as our bodies do? I don't know. I think they do. So what I am looking forward to talking about today, getting a little bit deeper into, is one, what are we going to talk about in the coming month? And we're going to dig into a little bit of your backgrounds. We've got law, we've got communications, we've got marketing, we've got entrepreneurship, startup funding, investments, and just a lot of expertise sitting around the table. And we want all of you that are listening today or on replay to take something away. So the format of our show goes like this. We start with good news, then we get into the question or the topic for the day. We have conversation. We like it to feel like we're having coffee, or even better yet, happy hour. And we want you to feel like you're part of it. And better yet, we'd like you to be part of it. The phone number to be part of it is 293-9000. Call us. We have been begging our moms to call us for about 6 weeks. We have not yet gotten one call from our mom, but we'd take a call from any mom, or daughters for that matter, friends, relatives, neighbors. Give us a call. But we are going to come back after break and get into it. So here we go. Come back after break for more of The High Road with Michelle and friends. Welcome back to The High Road with Michelle Kommer and some really awesome friends in this room here today. I've got Jodi Duncan, Liz McGee, Krista Andrews, and Christy Dauer in studio, and we're talking about business wellness. But before we dive into that, we're going to talk about some good news, because you can find not good news just about anywhere, but not here, not today. Always starting with the good news, and today's good news is this. Women-owned businesses continue to be one of the fastest growing forces in the American economy. Today, women own more than 14 million businesses across the United States, creating jobs, strengthening communities, and proving every single day that there is no single blueprint for leadership or success. But here's the thing that I find encouraging, you guys. Our understanding of leadership, I think, has really evolved. For years, we thought leaders had to have all the answers. And today, I think we recognize more than ever that leaders are the ones that ask really great questions. We build trust and accountability. And we understand that culture isn't just created by mission statements. It's created by everyday decisions. And I think that's really good news. And also, it's good news because these aren't necessarily traits you're born with. So I have a riddle for you all. How many people do you think out of 10 are born leaders?
3,
2,
5.
4.
3, 2, 4, and 5. Okay.
Close.
3, 2, 4, and 5. Well, the answer, according to Gallup, is that number is 2. 2 out of 10 people. Yeah, isn't it?
Are a naturally born leader. Others have to be trained.
Yep.
Leadership is hard, though, so it doesn't totally surprise me.
It is. So then I wasn't going to ask this, but now I am. Were you a born leader? I'm looking at all of you.
Michelle was.
Which Michelle?
You.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh no.
No, you were. No,
yeah,
for
you
sure.
definitely were.
You, just
You
got
guys,
it.
not true. I appreciate that
No.
as a compliment, but many of you don't know I am actually an introvert.
I think that's so funny.
I do too.
I am. I'm an introvert.
Yeah,
I can behave.
Feels like a lie.
I'll bring you my Myers-Briggs next time. But I do appreciate the compliment. I was not. And the second part of that is, how many people do you think can be trained to be effective leaders?
Out of 10?
Out of
I
10.
would say 3 or 4 if you're not naturally a born leader.
Okay.
5.
Okay.
I would say 4.
I'm going to be optimistic and say 6.
All right. And where was your number, Christy, first?
4.
So you're adding them all up to 10.
Yeah.
You're thinking everybody can be a leader. Well, according to Gallup, the number is 6. So that gets you up to 8. 2 are born. 6 more can be trained to be really effective leaders. And now these are my words, not Gallup's. They don't say 2 out of 10 people shouldn't be leaders, can't be leaders. But what they do say and recognize is that that's not everybody's path. You know, some people are individual contributors, and some people should remain individual contributors because it's not their strength to be a leader. And I just think that's a really interesting statistic, and it's one that I would send everybody home with, not to point at people and say, you're one of the 2 in 10, you suck. You know, but the optimism that we can train and develop in that space. So I got a question to all of you guys. Speaking of leadership, you are all leaders in your space in one way or another. What is the one word that your team at work would use to describe you? And I'm going to go to Krista first.
Because I cheated and texted my secretary.
Yeah.
Put her on the
More than
spot.
dots?
Yeah.
Pardon?
Did you get more than dots?
I got more than dots.
Oh.
She responded with thoughtful, which I love, and I'm glad that was her response. Because I try to be considerate and thoughtful of what other people are experiencing or what their needs are. You know, what's interesting is, an attorney in a law firm, I don't necessarily see myself as a manager.
Okay.
But, you know, you're a managing partner. I guess I am.
Yes.
But I just see myself more as just getting the job done. So I've had to learn how to do that.
I
'cause
love that.
As an attorney, you're not trained to be necessarily a leader or a manager.
Yeah.
But
And
you-
I agree with that word 1,000%,
thank you.
having worked with you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And, you know, leader, manager, but you lead every single day. You lead client discussions, you lead strategy, you lead all day long.
There's certainly different definitions of a leader.
Yeah.
And I think I'm thinking of the more traditional, you're a CEO or a president. And,
Yeah.
But like you said, there are different ways to lead or manage.
Absolutely. Yeah. Christy, what's your one word?
I would hope that it was authentic.
All right.
Statewide nonprofit, going through multiple iterations of grants and things. I try to maintain a level of transparency with my team of like, hey, here's what's happening. Here's what's happening in the world. Here's what I know. And here's what I don't know.
Yeah.
And some of that actually, I credit to you, Michelle,
Christy.
in one of our original conversations. And you talked about putting the human in HR, the human side of human, resources. And so leading with, a level of transparency, I think has been helpful.
That's awesome.
Just because there is so much uncertainty and I don't have all the answers.
Yeah. So how did you learn that? Did it come natural to you? Have you always been that way? Did you learn by working with or for someone who was not that way, or by leading differently and going,
I think it is somewhat learned, but I think that it's the way that I would want as a team member.
Love it.
Just because, to have it all together and put up this facade of I know everything and I can anticipate what's coming next with federal funding or with state funding. We're coming up on a biennium session. I don't know what that looks like.
It's exhausting.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, we're going to flip over to Jodi for your one word.
It's a good question.
Did you phone a friend, or is this coming?
No.
Okay.
No. I suspect it would vary greatly depending on who you ask.
Okay.
However, I think very consistently people would probably say I'm direct.
Okay.
Often that gets construed or interpreted different ways. Sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it's unemotional. Sometimes it's she doesn't care.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different feelings, I think, that go around that. But I grew up in a family of boys. I have 4 older brothers, and there wasn't a lot of sister to sister emotional stuff going on. And so we're pretty quick to come to the point and don't drone on about things. And I think that often is just seen as just direct.
Yeah. Well, and I can't help but go down a rabbit hole, but I think it's an important one. And I think you've written about it in the past, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably.
But there is research that shows that women that are direct are perceived as, fill in the blank, aggressive, some non-flattering words.
Yes.
Whereas a male who communicates almost
Same way.
identically is perceived differently. Why do you think that is? And what do you do about it?
Yeah, I have written a lot about that. Early in my career, I struggled a lot with that crab bucket mentality, where people are always trying to pull you down because whatever reason they want to bring you back down to their level or whatever it might be. So I think some of it's that. I think it's just human nature to maybe try to drag people down.
Yeah.
But there's a huge difference between how men leaders are treated versus female leaders. And I think that's one of the highest hills for us to climb as women, is how do we do those things that are really, especially in business, are really critical to having a good business relationship. And sometimes it's even things like you don't share enough, or you don't soften the message enough, which could be seen very differently if a male leader said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to comment that we here in this room lack diversity in the sense that we're all roughly the same age, maybe a decade, that separates us one way or the other. I would be curious to know how younger women are experiencing that dynamic in the workplace. Like, if there are changes, does anyone have any insight on that? I personally want to know.
I have 2 daughters that are, my oldest daughter's 32 and my youngest is 28. Right? Do I have those numbers right?
Definitely.
And I think they experience it, and in some ways it's worse, because when I was coming up through the early part of my career, you knew what you were dealing with, and you knew how to deal with it. And in some ways now, there's a different expectation and a different perception of male versus female leaders that make it harder. Because I felt like I always knew what I was up against, and I knew what I needed to do. And I think it's more confusing now in some ways because of different, and I mean, it's just a divided society any way you cut it right now.
Sure. That makes sense. Well, Liz, what's your one word? You're not off the hook here.
I know, and I've had the longest to think. I think, I mean, there's a lot of different answers. I think curious, because I'm always
Ooh.
asking a lot of questions. And distracting, I was also going to say, because I'll be the first one to derail a meeting off of a side comment that was made that I need to know more information about, or I want to know why, how, like I need to understand all of the things to complete my task.
That makes perfect
And I ask
sense.
a lot of questions, but I'm genuinely interested.
I think that's one of the most incredibly valuable traits that a person can possess.
Not everybody does.
Were you born that way?
I don't know. I just was asking questions to the teenager friend's boyfriend that I met this weekend. They were like, "Stop with the questions." I'm like, "But I want to know the answers. I need to know his whole entire life."
Yeah, I love it.
So
Jean, are you listening? Jean,
she probably is.
Jean, it's 293-9000. Give us a call. We'd like to hear more about Liz's background. Okay, so that was our fun question for the day. And the rest of this is fun too, 293-9000 if you want to be part of the conversation. But here's another question. What is something about leadership or running a business that absolutely nobody warned you about? Came as a complete surprise.
You ask hard questions. You always make me think more than I want to. I say, can I pass?
And just so the audience knows, if I have a group of folks that are coming on the show, I send a little bit of information about the show, maybe a few questions, none of which we've actually asked today. So it just comes as it comes, which is what makes this fun. I forgot what I asked too, by the way. So you can answer any question that you want.
What was the most
business
that surprised us the most?
Yeah,
about
no
being
one
a
warned
leader?
you about. Yep. If you can think back on that.
Told you I'm taking a hard pass.
I
Somebody else.
So I think maybe what has been the hardest for me even to wrap my head around, and I would go way back all the way to today, is how people see things so differently and how they react to different things. And that's always a challenge of, because you're not going to be able to make everybody happy. And if you do this, someone's mad. And that has been one of the things that I've found, because maybe early on in my career, I thought, well, everybody must think like me. And you and I have talked about this,
We have.
Michelle, like I love to work.
Yeah.
And I think you're the same way.
Yeah.
And then that gets this like, oh, you work all the time. You're poor children.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, I think, surprised me the most throughout my career. I'm always a little bit taken aback by how people interpret different things.
Yeah. So, listeners, this is Jodi Duncan. She's not the CEO of Flint. She's the president.
That's right.
Deals with communication and marketing every single day. Have you seen over the years from when you started in business to today, much of a difference, big difference, no difference in, you commented earlier on society and division, but to that point, of the different viewpoints and what surprises you or not, is it a lot different today? How you approach, say, a media campaign because of what you know about the environment, or is it generally the same approach?
I think what's different is the different channels
Oh, sure.
how easy it is to bash somebody on social media or to do things anonymously or to do things kind of in a way that you wouldn't have been able to. So and with brands and any business or leaders or whatever it is, it's pretty simple to share your opinion
Yeah.
and say whatever you want, whether
Keyboard
it's true
warriors.
or not. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Isn't
Yeah.
that something? Yeah.
I do think, going back to your question though, I do think that's what's been hardest for me is you can deliver a message or you can have a conversation and you walk out of a meeting and you hear something else came from that. You're like, wait, that's not what I said, or that wasn't the intention. And you may think you're clear, but people perceive it differently. And it's hard having to adjust to that or learning to adjust to the different perspectives or how they digest information.
Yeah.
Because you think you're clear and you might not be.
Yeah. HR advice from me is put it all in writing. You could walking
so
in the
true.
room, say the thing, be yourself, deliver the message, and then say,
Follow up.
yep, follow up with an email, or here I have this for you in writing if you want to reflect on it at a later point in time. Speaking of reflecting, we're going to reflect on a commercial break right now. And then we're going to come back and talk more about that very same question. This is The High Road with Michelle Kommer and a great group of people. This is The High Road with Michelle Kommer. And the more important part of that equation is the people here in the studio with me today. We've got Jodi Duncan from Flint Communications, Liz McGee, our wellness expert, very enthusiastic about workplace wellness, and Krista Andrews. She is an attorney with ABST, and Christy Dauer from the North Dakota Women's Business Center here representing in a conversation about business wellness. Before break, we were talking about the one thing that you learned about leadership that nobody warned you about. So kind of you learned it the hard way. Christy, what do you got?
So you even gave us time to think about this, but I think it's embracing the cracks. And what I mean by that is,
Is it drug related? No.
No, but like in a nonprofit, right? You're going after funding and things tend to crack.
Oh.
And so it's trying to embrace that emotional temperature of the situation, right?
Wow.
And so I think that was the hardest part for me is just learning how to even when you're physically maybe drained, as a leader, people are still looking at you for cues.
Yeah.
And I think that was something that I had to learn very quick.
That sounds rough. I mean, because like you said earlier, in a nonprofit, sometimes grant funded, very unpredictable. And I bet that comes up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time you came up on it, I can't even imagine what that felt like. Like, what do I do?
Right.
And you just experience it kind of over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Get used to it. That's good advice. That's good advice. All right. Who's next? Something you learned about business that nobody warned you about. They're looking away.
I know. Deer in headlights.
No.
I answered, didn't I?
Yeah, I think we answered that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody answered.
Oh gosh, that's
Yeah.
on me.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I didn't
What's up,
answer.
menopause moment?
I do have
Thank
something.
you.
Liz
though.
didn't answer.
I do. I
Okay,
didn't
go.
answer.
Because I have
From the non-leader, like the non. It's not in my title, but I think
You're a leader.
everybody really is. It's fake it till you make it.
Wow.
And I think
So
like
true.
new college grads, like you enter the workforce and you think you need to know everything. And you later find out if you have good coworkers and leadership,
Yeah.
fake it till you make it.
Yeah. I
Show
love
up.
that.
Just show up and ask questions.
And I'm going to add to that. I love that. Show up and ask questions, because I'll marry what you said with something that was said earlier. I think Christy said it, which is you don't have to know all the answers. And that's something that I would probably impart with our younger generation too. Show up, ask questions, have confidence in yourself, because if you have the question, someone else does too. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
I think
Okay.
the reverse of that, though, is still the imposter syndrome,
Oh, yeah.
which I think is still tough. And I don't know, it gets easier, but at first it's difficult when, people are looking at you for answers.
Yeah. See, I think we should just do away with that
I know,
imposter
I
syndrome.
agree, but it's hard.
It's a real
to do.
thing.
It
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
but maybe if we just recognize, if we just dispose of the name and say everyone's going to experience a time where you feel like more is expected of you than you have to offer.
Mhm.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think, though, we were talking about an interesting thing Liz brought up, fixating on like the negative stuff about yourself.
Yeah.
That it's so hard to have confidence when you fixate on, and we've talked about this many times. One person can make one negative comment on you, and 10 people can say great things about you, and you're going to fixate on that one
You
thing.
do.
Mhm.
I recently heard something, and it was being overconfident before confident.
Mm.
Tell me more. Tell us
And
all more.
well, real world example, Friday night, my mom and I replaced our ceiling fan at the lake
Whoa.
because we're going to figure out electrical tonight.
Whoa. Good
10 out of
job.
10 don't recommend, but 3.5 hours later, we did have a ceiling fan.
Congrats.
Is
well
it saying
done.
that you're supposed to be?
Overconfident before
Before confident?
confident.
So you
Oh.
And
make
I was like,
yourself, you
yeah.
trick yourself into thinking
Right.
you're.
I can do this.
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
Mhm.
Hey, babe, that's how we got a radio show.
Yeah.
True.
No, I'm just kidding. I do have to tell you really quickly how we got a radio show here. For those of you that don't know, I got fired from guest hosting Scott Hennon's show, What's on Your Mind. It was May 7th. If you want to go listen to it, you can hear exactly how that played out. But I had a great group of people, just like here today. And Scott's show is What's on Your Mind. It's, we're talking about topics that are political, heated, charged, typically. That show, we ended up talking about things like menopause and other words.
That's on your mind.
You know, it is on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, so I got fired from that show, but because it just wasn't right place, right time. But management here said, I think there might be a right place, right time. So that's how we got this show. And this show is really about having conversations that need to be had, things that need to be said out loud. And I'm really happy to be here with you guys, having those conversations. So speaking of menopause, it always comes up. Part of the show is the menopause minute. And so the menopause minute is this, that women in midlife represent one of the fastest growing segments of entrepreneurs in America. So it turns out that experience might be one of the greatest competitive advantages that there is. See how I kind of tied those together?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right on. And it's no accident that our intro song is This Girl's on Fire, just so you know. I don't know if you guys caught that, but that's that. Yeah, all right. So let's talk about the things that people don't say out loud. You guys ready? One of the questions, no, I'm not going to do. Actually, I am. You know I am.
Let's go.
Well, this is just more for me than anyone. I'm crowdsourcing style feedback, and this happens to be the style that you wear on the inside of your clothes. My Labradoodle, mini lab, eats underwear.
Tessa.
I've read about it. It's not just her, just so you know. It's kind of a Labradoodle thing. This has created a problem for my underwears, and those particular ones that I wear aren't made anymore. So I'm not asking you to tell me what kind of underwears you wear, because that's way too personal, but tell me about the kind that your friend wears, if they prefer full coverage. Real quick. Just put it out there, and then we'll move on, because we're talking about business wellness today. But if you look good, you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about confidence.
Victoria's Secret pink
Okay.
hipsters.
Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
Got that one. Wrote it down.
Pink hipsters.
Okay, anyone?
None?
Oh,
Should I throw that out there? I'm
dang.
guessing there's people that want to hear somebody
That
say
friend
it.
Yep.
is wild.
yep.
Yeah.
She wild.
She's wild, that's for sure.
Her theme song is going to be something different.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
I'm pleading the fifth on that one.
That's fair.
Because I don't know the answer.
It's for a friend.
Fair.
I don't even know what brand underwear I wear.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't pay enough attention.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
I'll look later.
Yep. Okay, fair. We'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking at
Yep.
Christy.
Nope.
Yeah. I wish I had some
There's,
inspiration.
it's okay.
Costco?
2939000.
Yeah, Costco.
Costco's got some good stuff. 2939000. Okay, so getting back to business here, what does business wellness mean to you? And the reason that I'm asking that is because the next 3 shows are roughly planned out. We're talking about business wellness, but it means something different to everybody. So I'm going to listen, and I want to hear from you what that means to you. I'm going to take notes, and then the next 3 shows are going to be designed around that.
So I have 2 stats. Can I throw
I'm
in 2
ready.
stats?
I love
okay,
stats.
So we host an annual summit in Medora every year.
Yeah.
And we had 120 some small business owners. And
Whoa.
the second most requested topic was around workplace culture, mental health. And so it was the second
Wow.
most requested subject matter
I'm
that
writing it
was
down.
at the conference. So it's more than just us talking about this. It is something that we've truly proven through data. The second one is we've got an anonymous funding survey out there.
Okay.
And I'm going to butcher the stats because this is not prepared, but it's over 70% of small businesses that responded to this anonymous funding survey risk closing if they can't find capital in the next
Wow.
6 months.
In the next 6
Wow.
months.
Yes.
My goodness.
And so it's 70 something percent, right?
wow.
And then we got a little bit further, and it's less than $50,000 that they're looking for in a state
goodness.
so rich with resources. And so I also think, that is also tied to the healthiness of that entrepreneur,
Mhm.
right? Because you're trying to balance career and life and side hustles and whatever. And so I just throw those 2 out there.
That is fantastic. I wrote those down. That's absolutely fantastic. All right. What do we got?
Did you say, what does it look like?
What does it mean
Or
to
what
you?
does
What
it
does
mean?
business wellness mean to you, knowing what you know about business?
Again, I don't know that I'm going to have the HR answer, but my
The more inappropriate, the better.
more think mine is just kind of the gut, is if you walk into the office and you don't have that sick, ugh, I got to go in and face this person or deal with this issue, or I don't want to come into work.
Yeah.
But when you feel like, oh, hi, how's it going? And you're kind of excited to see your coworkers, or there's, some connection there that, if they're going through something, you're there for them.
Yeah.
If there's something that happens at work, that everyone's going to rally. Just not kind of dreading going into work and enjoying being around your coworkers. 'Cause
Caring
you
about
can get
each
through
other.
everything. Yeah, with
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
People, human, the human in HR. Yeah.
Not a real deep answer, but best I could
But
describe it.
no, but that's authentic. It's a feeling, and we say that in HR. A great culture. There's no recipe. There's a million different recipes, but what we know is that people can actually feel it, like at a molecular level. The healthy culture versus not, and it affects our well-being. We talked about that last month too, where how there is no way to extricate mental health from physical health. We used to in the old days, but we can't anymore. So what does business wellness mean to you?
There's a challenge between the health of the business and the profitability of the business, and sometimes those basic fundamentals with a business get in the way of how people perceive the healthiness and wellness of people in the business. But one of Flint's values is be where you're needed most.
Okay.
And we give people the flexibility. So whether that's elderly care, which is something that I've really had to deal with in the last 60 days, or child care, or you have to go for mental illness reasons, need to take a break or whatever it is. So I think it's really finding the balance between the health of the financial side and the longevity of the business and the needs of the employees.
That is really well put. And you know what? On the show, you are allowed to promote your business, and I'm going to do it for you. Did you just hear that one of the values is be where you're needed most? So I'm guessing you probably have a careers page. I don't know. I'd encourage people to go check it out.
Go see it,
I like that.
flint-group.com.
I like it. Well done. Well done. Hey, we're going to head to a break. We're going to come back and talk more about what it means to be well at business. It's the High Road with Michelle Kommer and friends. Welcome back to the High Road with Michelle Kommer and friends. We've got Jodi Duncan from Flint Communications, Liz McGee, she is our wellness enthusiast, Krista Andrews, ABST Law, and Christy Dauer from the North Dakota Women's Business Center. Thank you, friends, for being here. It's already been a fantastic time. I can't wait for the rest of August. We're putting together the topics for the next several months, and we were talking about what does business wellness mean to you. We got a couple other questions. I'm going to give you the choice. Which one do you want to answer? If everyone listening, all three of our moms, remember just one thing from today's conversation, what would you hope it would be? It doesn't have to be something we already talked about. It can be something you want to offer. Or what is one thing that people assume about business leadership that's completely wrong? So those are your two choices. While you guys are thinking, I'm going to give you like 30 seconds to think about that. This is a talk radio show. The number is 293-9000. And I know talk radio, has maybe seemed to be a thing of the past. We don't have a text line, but we do have texts coming into everybody's individual phones here. We are accumulating answers to a couple of the questions that have been asked. Such as, what kind of underwears do your best friends wear? Which I connected to wellness. So I'm an attorney like Krista, and we go to school to learn how to connect irrational things together. I'm just kidding. We more went to school to causation was something that we learned. But I was trying to connect those two because I do believe if you look good, you feel good. And feeling good at work contributes to business wellness. So there's my attempt to put those two things together. But next week, I am going to procure a burner phone. So we're going to have a text line. Just putting that out there. Get ready for it. So there was your 30 seconds. You've got two questions, and we've got a little bit of time to talk about the one thing that people assume about business leadership that you've learned is simply not true. Or if everyone listening today remembered just one thing from the show, what would it be? All right. We're going to go in alphabetical order. First name, Christy.
Take the next best step. I think clarity comes from motion.
Ooh.
And so somebody else wise once told me relationships are rocket ships. And so just
That's great.
putting yourself out there and taking the next step.
Just take the step. Take the step. I love that. And I heard this kind of does go back to law school. One of the things, and I think my dad said this, but he said, if you feel like you absolutely cannot take one more step, you can't do it. You're exhausted. Life, work, kids. The best thing that you can do is take one more step. Kind of makes me cry a little bit.
Yeah.
A little counterintuitive, but it reinforces your point. I love it. All right, alphabetical order. I got nothing. J. Jodi.
I think maybe my answer would be the same for both of those.
Okay.
And something that I try to think a lot about is the story I'm telling myself. And I always take a beat and think, whether it's what somebody said about you or a perception you have about something or something you think about a business, just take a step back and am I telling myself a story, or what is the true narrative or motivation behind something that I heard?
I love it. Challenging your own truth. A lot of people don't do that.
Crucial conversations.
Yep.
Put a plug in for it.
Yep. I love it. Great book. All right. Krista.
If anything, kind of advice maybe in that you should try not to have such thin skin. I think it's hard, and if you can do that sooner rather than later, it's beneficial, because if you are going to be a leader, you're going to be a little bit of a target, or you're just going to get feedback, or you're going to have to deal with issues. And if you can kind of take the personal, what you may see as a personal attack or criticism out of it, I think you'll be more successful and more at ease and be able to just move forward.
Yeah, I love it. Does anyone have a tip or a trick for the how?
I shared this phrase a few weeks ago that some people will love you and some people will hate you, and it has nothing to do with you. I think that's so true, is not to take it so personally. It's just people's perspective or approaches, or maybe a situation that they're dealing with or going through, and just try not to take that so personal.
Yeah. I've heard similar things. Your opinion of me is none of my business. Yeah.
Or the thoughts, opinions, or actions of others. Like, you can't control those.
Absolutely.
So I bake sourdough.
Absolutely. That is great advice. Yeah. All right, Liz. And notice that I didn't go with Liz a bit.
I know. I'm glad for that. It gave me a little longer to think.
I was just rationalizing my inability to.
No, it works. I am going with show up, or what Jodi just said, be where you're needed. Is that what it was?
Be where you're needed.
Be where you're needed, because I think, I don't know, a lot of different things happen during the workday. People are juggling different plates. So help out and show up where you're needed. Just show up.
Yeah, I love that so much. I do. Well, we were talking at break, and we like to bring our break conversations into the conversation on the air. But I think when you've had, and as most of us have, for one reason or another, whether it's a social media comment or something else, some unflattering things said that hurt your feelings or challenge what you believe about yourself, that the thing that I've learned to do by necessity is just have confidence in who you know you are. And remember that what I had said to myself in those situations is that there is one judge to me, and whatever your place is on a faith journey, I know who my judge is, and that's the thing I need to remind myself to care about. So here we go. We always like to end with the High Road Challenge. So we encourage all of you and us that this week, instead of asking yourself, how can I be more successful? Ask yourself, what would make my work healthier, or what would make my business healthier? Is it healthier conversations? Is it crucial conversations? Is it healthier expectations, healthier boundaries? Healthy businesses aren't built overnight. They're built, as Christy said, one step and one decision and one relationship at a time. So, ladies, we have a whole list of things to talk about through the next month. I cannot wait. This has been a wonderful way to kick off our business wellness series. So I want to thank you so much for showing up. Next week, we will continue this conversation. We'll dig deeper. But until then, be kind, be curious, lead well, and take the high road. Thank you so much.